Hi and welcome to the Paisley Hummingbird. My name is Amanda and I'm here to present to you the Oracle reading for the energy for December 2022. Okay, so I hope you've all had a good month. I hope you got to use your senses a lot and connect with the people around you, in particular your partner. I hope you took some of the advice that I gave you for November and that you've had a really good month. So let's see what's in store for you for December. We all know that we get very busy in December. You know, we have Christmas for the people who celebrate it, or Hanukkah and all the other festivals and celebrations that are celebrated at this time of year. But you need to just check in with yourself every now and then and just make sure that you're doing okay. Okay, before I begin, I just want to say that Oracle readings as such are not set in stone. They are just one of the future possibilities for you. And if you don't like what you get in a reading, not in particular this reading, but readings that are specifically for you, remember that if you don't like the outcome, you can change it just by changing your actions. You have free will. And I need to really stress that, because when you rely on an oracle reader or oracle cards, if you read them for yourself, you are giving your power away. So it's up to you to create the destiny, to create the future, to create all your dreams yourself. But spirit or source or whatever you want to call it is there to give you the best possible chance of getting what you want. Okay? So let's get on with it. This month is a very woo-woo month. Most of the cards, all but one card actually, is in protection. I am reading from, I'm reading from the Wisdom of the Oracle cards by Colette Baron-Reid. They're a beautiful card set. The artwork is absolutely amazing. And I've been using them a lot after having them sit on my shelf for a long time. I've started using them and they're just such a valuable tool. So this month, as I said, we've got all cards bar one are in protection, which means that they're reversed. Now, this doesn't actually mean that they are the reverse or the opposite of what they mean when they're upright. It just needs to stress or protect you from something that you may be heading towards that is not for your highest good. Okay, so the first two cards are Deeper Knowing and New Life in the protection stance. So we'll look at Deeper Knowing first. Deeper Knowing is, of course, all about your intuition. It's about being connected to source or spirit or the universe or God or whatever you want to call it. So it is telling you that for centuries, we have been taught to use our head. But in reality, it is actually very beneficial to us to use our intuition as well as our head. You know, there is a place for everything, okay? But this month is saying you need to get out of your head and into your heart, which is where I believe your intuition sits. Although it is in your gut as well, but I believe that our inner spirit or spirit and source comes through our heart chakra, which sits about here. Okay, so when we get intuition, it comes through not as, well, for some people it may, but for most of us, it comes through as signs and symbols. It might be a song playing on the radio or a book in a library or bookshop that stands out to you and has a message for you. It could be through the oracle cards like we're doing now, or it could just be an animal spirit coming through to give you a message. So when we get these messages, we need to be very aware of what's going on. We need to take note of them. And sometimes when we get them, they don't make any sense at all. And that's okay, because sometimes it doesn't make sense because what it's giving you information about hasn't happened yet or hasn't come into your life yet. So you may not realize what that card is for until you get a bit further down the track. But really, this month is all about starting to use your intuition and practicing it, and not having to be a expert at it straight away. It's quite all right to not know everything. I know that society makes it seem detrimental to us if we are not an expert in our subject ASAP. But you know what? Life is a journey. It's a very long journey for some of us, and it's about learning. So why the hell would you want to learn everything in the first 5 seconds? Let's draw that thing out and have a really, really good, interesting journey. So it's okay not to know everything. It's okay to feel a bit fearful of what's to come if you've never worked with your intuition before. Trust me, you have spirit guides and guardian angels and ascended masters all waiting for you to say, help me understand the messages I'm receiving. Help me connect to source through my intuition. Okay, the first thing you need to do is trust yourself, because so often we are taught not to trust ourselves, that we should always look to something outside of ourselves for the answers. And actually, everything we need to create the lives that we want, to do our journey, we already have inside of us. We were born with them. They were part of our contract. They've come through with us. We just have to remember what we have. What tools and resources do we have at our beck and call? So this month is about starting that journey if you haven't started it yet. For some of you, this may be going over something that you've been doing for many years now, and that's great, but maybe you've let it slip by the wayside. When we get busy, we don't always listen to our intuition. We just get on autopilot and we just do what we think is necessary. So this month is sort of saying to you, get back to basics, get back to your inner spirit, get back to your heart, and do what's right for your highest good. Okay. I also want to talk about, before I move on to the next 2 cards, is the universe, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it, has its own schedule. So it is not going to be rushed. So don't even try to rush. If you get a message that you take as really positive, don't think, okay, come on, let's go, let's get it, let's do it. Slow down. The universe will not be rushed, and the more you try to rush it, the more you will throw up challenges and obstacles in your course, and the further away your intended desire will take to come through to you. So just chill out, or as my sister would say, calm your farm and just enjoy the ride, knowing that something is coming. That gives us anticipation, and anticipation is so underrated, because in the world that we live in now, we are instant gratification. I want that game, just buy it and download it. You don't have to go to the shop, you don't have to wait for it to come in. There's no anticipation, you just get stuff straight away. And anticipation is really good for our well-being, I believe, anyway, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. It teaches us to be patient, and that's a really big thing, because as I said, the universe runs on its own schedule, and it is not changing that for anybody. So be really aware of that. Don't try to rush through things if you start getting signs and guidance that's leading to something really good. And also, you can't stop time as well if the opposite happens. Okay, the next 2 cards I've got are both in protection stands. One is Fork in the Road and Higher Power. And these go into a little bit more detail about the energy that's going to come through for December. Okay, so Fork in the Road. This is a great place to be. In other cards that I have, it talks about the void, where we sit in the void. It's nice and it's calm and it's peaceful, and there's no right and wrong. There's no stress. We just get to sit in there. And it's a good place to be, but you can't stay there forever. You need to make a choice. So basically, a lot of the times, if you get asked to make a decision, usually there's not any bad decision to make. They're all good. So you just have to decide which one you want. But don't take too long to do it, because the universe or someone outside of yourself will make the decision for you. And that is not necessarily a good thing. So don't spend too long in the void. You can't live in the void. You need to pick a road and go and take it. Okay? If you think, well, I just won't make a choice, that is a choice. You're making a choice not to make a choice. And that means that you're not taking responsibility for your journey. And it is of the utmost importance that you take responsibility for your life. No one, not your mother, your father, your husband, the church, your work, your peers, none of them are responsible for your life. Only you, because only you know what's going to make you happy. And only Spirit and Source will know what's the best thing for you, what's for your highest good, that will bring you the happiness that you want. So take some responsibility and make a choice. So that choice could be to start a spiritual practice, which is basically what this is about this month, is starting a spiritual practice, getting back in touch with your intuition. If you've had a spiritual practice for a long time, then maybe this card is saying to you, maybe you need to zhuzh it up a bit. Maybe the things you're doing are not doing it for you anymore. So change it up, take a different path, do something new. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading from my notes that I've made when I've done the original reading, because there is a lot of information coming through here today. So when you're talking about your higher power in the protection mode, it's saying you're not using your intuition. You are giving your power away. And I just spoke about this in the first set of cards, is you're giving your power away. You're giving it to an external source, whether that be your boss, your parents, a husband or a wife or a partner, social media, the community, society. We all give our power away to them without even realizing we're doing it. Every time you look at a social media post and went, I want that life, you're giving your power away. Because nobody knows what you want. That may look idyllic on the outside, but really, it's most probably not what it seems. So don't give your power away. Don't even give your power away to an oracle reader like me. I often tell my clients when they come to have a reading that these are just messages that are given through me. They're not messages that I have made up, if that makes sense. They're messages that come through me. I give them as I see them. That's it. Most of the time, I don't even remember the reading after I finished it, because it's not me creating those messages. It's messages coming through from Source. So don't even give your power away to an oracle reader or oracle cards if you do them yourself. I know I draw an oracle card every day to get the feel or the energy of the day, but it's not set in stone. If I get something that's not nice, like, I don't know, 3 of Swords, which is all about heartbreak and betrayal and loss, I just say, nah, don't want that today. So I'm going to do different. I'm going to put out there an energy that's positive and loving and higher. So yeah, you need to keep your power within you. Okay, so sometimes the choice that we make can be a choice that didn't turn out so good. Excuse me. It can be a choice that when we get through the experience, it was like, nah, it didn't really float my boat. Or it turned out that it wasn't the experience I thought it was going to be, was a little bit negative. What I'm saying to you here is, if you get a choice, if you make a choice and it doesn't turn out to how you thought it would be, just let it go. But remember the lessons from that experience so that you don't have to repeat that experience. Until we learn our lessons, we will keep repeating the lesson over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, even if we have to come back in another life and do it because we just did not get it. Don't be that person. When something negative happens to you or happens that you don't really want to happen, step back. detach from the outcome and think, what can I learn from this situation? How can I do better next time? And I know that sounds all very new age and, that type of thing, but it's true. This is what you need to do. The sooner that you learn that lesson, the less time you will take learning your lessons, and the more time you will have to go and do other experiences and learn new lessons instead of just keeping on repeat the same lesson over and over again. Okay, so when we talk about giving our power away, we may also be giving our power to something that is in our subconscious mind or in our belief system that we don't even realize we are using as part of our belief system. So if you're wanting to manifest something in your life, or you have a desire, and say, for example, you have a dinner party and you envision it happening a certain way, and then when the dinner party comes, it doesn't turn out the way you want it, you need to step back and think, well, what subconscious belief do I have, or what subconscious experience am I repeating over and over again that makes the outcome become something that I didn't want? And it could be that you have a belief that you're not worthy of having fun, or you don't deserve to be a great social host. Something like that is just an example. So you need to also look at things. If you think, I'm not giving my power away to an external influence, then maybe look back into what your beliefs actually are. Is there something sitting in your subconscious mind that keeps making you repeat the things that you don't want to do? Okay. Okay, finally, I just want to say that the only place to get your information is from source. Okay? And once you trust that, once you surrender to that, once you take that in and you accept it, your life will be so much easier, and you will be blessed by source with things that you can't even imagine. So surrender, let go, trust that source will provide you with what you need. Okay, so that's a bit more detail. The next two cards we're going into are going to be what challenges may come up for you in this month. We've got two cards in protective mode again. One is building blocks and one is chop wood. Now, both of these talk about going back to basics, simplifying things. The first one, building blocks, is stopping and taking a look at the foundation that you live on. So this is not just about your physical foundation, but this is about your spiritual foundation, your personal transformation foundation. Are there beliefs that you have now that no longer suit your purpose or suit your life because you've grown as a person or you've leveled up in your spiritual development? It's time to go through those and get rid of anything that doesn't work for you. Now, it is also a physical thing. Is there a friendship that has run its course? Is there a job that no longer satisfies you? Are you being called to do some study? All that sort of thing. Do you have a house full of clutter? If you can see behind me, hello. Do you need to declutter your life? These are just things that the foundation or building blocks is asking you to do a bit of a clear out. And chop wood is the same. It's go back to basics, be humble. Let spirit cleanse what you do. Let spirit do its work. Stop focusing so much on the desire or the dream or the goal. Get up and do stuff, okay? So when you do chop wood, it's talking about getting out of your head. I think Colette, Baron-Reid calls it the armchair astronaut, where you sit in your armchair and you dream of all these wonderful things, but you never actually get up and take action. So you need to take action. And it can be something as simple as cleaning your house, tidying away your clutter, going for a walk, spending time with your kids, just stuff that gets you out of your head and back into your heart. Okay, so these will be the challenges. And of course, these challenges are coming up now at this time of year when we are called to be in our head more often because we have to organize stuff, we have to buy presents if we buy presents, we have to make sure that we, don't piss off Auntie Flo because we forgot to invite her to a certain party. There is a lot of extra stress at this time of year for a lot of people. And these cards are saying that the challenge will be to get out of your head, get back in your heart, do a bit of internal decluttering and physical decluttering. Christmas is a great time of year to declutter. My sister gets her kids to declutter. They give their toys to charity or to a second-hand shop so that if they get new toys for Christmas, they have space for them. And they actually do a really good rotation. I think it's a great idea, and something that's worth thinking about for your family as well, and especially at Christmas, because there are a lot of people who can't afford brand new presents, and there's kids out there who would love what your child no longer uses, or yourself even. Okay, so we need to stop thinking. We need to start creating. We need to start exercising, meditating, spending time with the people who bring us joy, not the people who bring us stress and anxiety. So we need to also look at getting rid of anything that is not for our highest good. So, just thinking about the building blocks, getting rid of anything that definitely no longer serves you. I think I've said this before, but I just want to reiterate it, that it's really important that you do your internal cleanup as well as your external cleanup. Okay, so the last two set of cards are what Spirit is waiting to offer us if we should want to accept it. Once again, these two cards are in protective mode. Now, when, as I said before at the beginning, when cards are in protective mode, it doesn't actually just mean that it's going to be the opposite of what it is when it's upright. It can be, like a lot of these cards have been, a stress. So stressing what you need to take notice of. And by putting in protection mode, it's saying to you, you're on high alert. This is what you need to do to move forward. So as a lot of people are moving into a more spiritual based life, obviously there's a lot of new people doing this. And so there is going to be a lot of cards in protective mode because a lot of people are new at this. Okay, so what is Spirit waiting to give us if we want to accept it? We have two cards, Clean It Up and the Thinker. Okay, so Clean It Up is, Colette Baron-Reid talks about, if you do what you did, you're going to keep getting what you did, basically. So my grandmother, I think, used to say to me all the time, the definition of stupid is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So this is what cleanup is about as well. It's accepting that you need to surrender to Spirit, and then you will be blessed with new experiences and new lessons. Excuse me. If you be humble, you'll be gifted with grace. And clean it up is, see, upright, it usually means clean up what we were just talking about. Clean up the beliefs that you no longer have. Clean up the subconscious obstacles and blocks that keep blocking you from getting what you desire. So, but in protection mode, it's talking about being able to surrender to Spirit and letting Spirit in so that they can put new stuff in there that's much more beneficial for your highest good. Okay, so the Thinker is in protection mode, and it's just reiterating some of the other cards, which is stop thinking, get out of your head and get into your heart, get into your body. Sonia Choquette teaches this really good way of bringing you back into the present, which will bring you back into your heart, or back in touch or in line with Spirit or your inner spirit or whatever you want to call it. And she talks about just doing a breath, and it's just And that big vocal ah will bring you straight back into your body. If you're going off on a tangent and you're becoming anxious or you're spiraling into a panic attack, sometimes just trying this breath really works. I know that even just doing that one there to demonstrate to you, I can feel my body is grounded. Like my feet feel very, very, very grounded to the floor beneath me. And colors brighten because I'm back in touch with my inner spirit. So I'm seeing through the eyes of spirit rather than seeing through my human eyes. Which sounds really weird, I know. Woo-woo. So, but that's what that's saying is that it's now time to stop your thinking and to get back into your heart. So if you do these things, Spirit is waiting to bring you blessings, to bring you grace, to bring you the things that are for your highest good. But first you need to do a little bit of a cleaning up. So that's basically all there is for this December. But I think it's going to be a good one. I know that we can't live in our hearts the whole time. That's not logical. And as I said in the last video last month, in a book I wrote, I had a saying that said, it's okay to have your head in the clouds as long as you have your feet on the ground. Which means that both thinking, the mind or the head, and the heart need to be used in our lives. They can't be one or the other. You need to have a balance of using them both because they both have some connection for us. They both move us forward in life. But if you're all in your head, if you're all thinking, then where is your spiritual practice? Where is the ability to be in contact with your intuition? It's not there, and that would be deeply unfulfilling for you. I've just found recently a few of my clients that I have some younger kids, like teenagers, and I'm finding that they're getting the messages that I'm getting for women or people my age. They're getting them much younger in life, and I think that's and the messages that they're being given, sorry, I need to explain a bit. The messages that they're being given is about developing a spiritual practice. Now, I know myself, when I was young, I wasn't thinking about spiritual practice. I was thinking about going out, shopping, work, cars, friends, boyfriends, all of that mundane security and safety and base chakra stuff, But I'm finding that it wasn't till I was much older that I started to realize that my life was really unfulfilling without a spiritual practice. Now I'm finding that before these kids even reach their adulthood, they're realizing that they need to have a spiritual practice in place. And this is all because most of them have been born in the 2000s. So they have a lot of 2s in their birth dates, which is a spiritual plane number. And they are the children that are moving up in this world, will become the adults of tomorrow, which will start the world on a huge transformation, which we have already started, but it's going to accelerate as these kids get older and start going into roles that help make decisions for the planet, basically. And it is that there has to be a more spiritual based way of living. So a lot of these kids are getting these messages when they're in their teens rather than when they're in their 30s or 40s. And I find that really, really interesting. And then to do the energy reading for December and see that it's all about intuition. It's all about having a spiritual based life. I know from personal experience that having a spiritual based life has been the best decision for me. I've been doing this for a very long time, and every now and then something will happen where I say, this is absolute gobshite, like there's no such thing as God, there's no such thing as universe, it's all a load of crap, we're just here to have a shit life and then move on, So, and I will stop my spiritual practice. And I close my channels down. I don't hear from spirit. I don't hear from my guides, my angels. And it's a struggle. And every single time I keep being given the same lessons to come back to a spiritual based life. And every time I'm called to do that and I actually listen, I always have that sense of relief. I always have that sense of coming home. And I think a lot more people are going to have that sense of not being home if they're not having a spiritual or living a spiritual based life. Okay, well, that's it for me for this year. 2022 is nearly over. Ooh. I will be doing a video on 2023, a reading for the whole year, and of course I will be doing an energy reading for January 2023. Oh my God, this year has gone so fast. I hope that whatever festival or festivity or celebration you celebrate, I hope it is a really good one. I hope it's safe. For all you people who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. We celebrate Christmas here in my family, and I'm really looking forward to it because all my sisters will be together again this year, which will be a huge Christmas because there is a lot of us. But I hope you're all safe. Please remember COVID is still out there. Please keep away from people if you don't have to. Wear your mask if you feel unsafe. If you're not well, stay home, because the stuff that I've been reading lately is saying that 2023 is going to see another surge of COVID, and having suffered from it and still suffering from the long-term symptoms of it, I do not want it again, and I don't wish it on anybody, not even my worst enemy. So please look after yourself. Have a great festive season, and I will most probably see you in the new year. Bountiful blessings to you all. See you later.